What's up, everybody? It's Nomadder, and it's just about that time to give you my September update. 3 things I'm listening to. First that I'm gonna mention is Dolphin by Tennyson and Leslie. This is an EP from 2 artists. I believe it's 2 artists. Leslie I had not heard anything about, but Tennyson I did hear a little bit of because I saw an Instagram reel of Dolphin. Dolphin being the title track and the opening track to the EP. I thought that it was a super funky, really cool track that played around with rhythm a good bit, and it is. But I was expecting that to be the track that impressed me the most about this EP, and then I listened to the whole thing and I realized, wow, there is something super special about this EP besides just being funky and complex in its rhythms, and kind of dense in its movements and things like that. It actually does strike a good balance between being complex in its production while being kind of simple in the styles that it chooses. There's even some kind of poignant songwriting and really thoughtful songwriting on the EP, which I was not expecting, but I loved every single bit of it. Highly recommend if you are into kind of unique rhythms and genres for music that kind of lean more electronic but can get into a little more of a poppy side. Yeah, huge recommend. Love this EP. Second is Challenger EP by Everin Maxwell. This EP blew my socks off. It packs such a punch. The sound design is also so interesting on it. He even takes some directions where he uses certain sounds as the crux of a track that I feel like shouldn't by any measure be a full track, but he actually makes it work. Like, I feel like it should be in some sort of sample pack demo or some sound design tutorial or something like that, but it's like, surely he can't make a full track bouncing off of just this sound. And several times he does that very, very well. And even the ones, sometimes especially the ones that were always meant to be a full track, they're just absolute bangers. Every single track on the EP is an absolute banger. So if you're a fan of bass music, especially bass music with a bit of a cinematic twinge, I don't know if twinge is a word. Third, we've got Glacier's discography, and I mentioned Glacier earlier. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to use the take where I mentioned Glacier, but if I didn't, hey, Glacier, go check this guy out. He uses some really unique variations off of just the 4-chord structure and kind of throws in jazz chords often in his music and really plays around with what you can do in a key to accomplish certain feels. And it used to be that way back, he would just do it sort of as a jazz club type, type beat, where it was just cool and swag and everything. And then it got into, he was doing it more for the spectacle. There was a lot of Asian influence in his tracks with the instruments he chose and with the kind of vibes that he went for. But he's on an album cycle for the very first time ever. I am so hyped. I have been a Glacier fan for a long time. Highly recommend checking the album when it comes out on October 11th, but until then, just go check out this guy's music. Like, it is so nice. And so I don't know how else to describe it. I guess I could just show you previews of songs like I've been doing for now 9 months. So here you go.
Not really.
2 things I'm working on. I'll give you guys a preview this time because there was significant progress made that was kind of a fundamental change in how I was taking the house song that I did on stream way back when. I tried to write to it. I even had a very interesting idea for the lyrics that would end up entitling the song something like Cardboard Rocket Ship was the WIP name for it. But ultimately I wasn't really feeling that, and so now I've got a whole new direction for the lyrics. I'm super excited about what that's going to look like. It's probably going to end up being a single, so it's not connected to the EP that I'll be releasing next year. But it's going to be real interesting. A little of a slower burn, a lot more storyteller-centric. Think sort of like a Starless Sky part 2, but not narratively a part 2. It's just similar kind of vibe. So yeah, here's a little bit of the chorus with some vocals that I tacked on there recently.
She was bright as the sunrise, held an ocean in 2 eyes. She dismantled my disguise, and she stood out amongst the crowd.
So I hope that you guys enjoy that whenever that releases. Second thing I've been working on is the closest thing to actual like work, you know what I'm saying, that I've gotten. And that is, I've gotten a job and we're moving out of this set. So I'm super excited about that. I don't quite know what the set is going to look like, what I'll be filming to in the October update, but you guys are going to see next month. And finally, one thing that I've been learning, and it's really something that I've been learning all year, but I haven't really been able to put to the right words until just recently. So I'm foremost a hobbyist musician. I'm not doing this as my full-time endeavor. I'm not interested in really doing this as my full-time endeavor. And with that situation comes some very interesting and unique advantages. So basically, I've been learning that I should appreciate and exercise the freedoms that I have as a musician who is purely doing this as a hobby. First of all, my livelihood does not depend on the money that I make off of my music, whether it's purely from streams or people buying CDs or vinyls or merch, things like that. And that's just super cool that my livelihood doesn't depend on my music because, second of all, I can make whatever music I want without anybody telling me that, that's okay or that's not okay for me to make. In a similar vein, as a person who's started reviewing a lot more albums on Album of the Year and started to kind of critically review any of the albums that I listen to, it can be easy to get kind of bogged down into what other people think of my music. And I think that it's so cool that as a hobbyist musician, my livelihood doesn't depend on what my listeners think of my music. And the support comes from you guys actually liking my music. But if I released a project that was a lot weaker or just really bad, I don't have critics just talking to me all the time, So anybody who's in a similar situation to that, I feel like that's something that is so cool and definitely should be enjoyed. But also thank you guys so much for listening to my music. I rarely check streams, but when I do, I'm noticing that in the past, consistently somebody has been listening to something that I've been making. Every time I check stats in the last 7 days, somebody has listened to a track of mine, and that's just super, super cool to me. That people are still bumping my music, even though I've taken a week off, actually basically a year off. But I've been Nomadder. Thank you guys for checking in. And discussion question. Oh my goodness, my camera's running out of battery. Oh my goodness, I forgot once again. Do you relate to the hobbyist musician advantages and or do you not relate? And you have some objections to that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about that whole deal. And with that, I will see you guys next month, if not earlier. Nomadder out.